This is one of the most important theatre productions to ever come out of Australia, and I really didn't like it. Ganesh versus the Third Reich is a play by Back to Back Theatre. They're a company of intellectually disabled artists and performers, and their work is phenomenal. They tour the world regularly, they get massive awards for their work, and they've made some of the best theatre that I've seen in my life. The play kind of works on two levels, right? On one level, it is the story of the Hindu god Ganesh on a mission to Nazi Germany to reclaim the swastika. But then on a second level, it's also a play about the cast of intellectually disabled performers and artists who are making that play and the sort of power dynamics that are present in the room while making that play. This is a show that kind of gets at the way that like power corrupts, and it's hard to watch and it's confronting, but like I get what it's doing, and it's viscerally challenging us in how we approach disability and how we think about power structures and how we think about how we are meant to care for each other, right? That is phenomenal. Now the second part of the play is this narrative of Ganesh, and you might be thinking, oh, that's interesting. All the photos we've seen of the show have white performers. The show's kind of like marketed it as like confronting the issues of our time, including cultural appropriation, but then the actual narrative just kind of like offhandedly says, maybe we shouldn't be the ones to do this. But then they still do that. I do understand that dramaturgically that's working because the abuses of power in the show sort of allow this act of cultural appropriation to happen within the context of the show. But like a lot of things in this work, that sort of excuse doesn't really satisfy me. Like for me, it raises questions of who gets to tell South Asian stories within Australian arts and culture and, you know, succeed off that. And I keep hearing people tell me like, oh, but it's really interesting how it grapples with the mess and it gets into the mess. And the people telling me that it's interesting are just white people. The actual production has received a lot of criticism from Hindu voices. And I guess my question is, why do white people get to say that investigating cultural appropriation is interesting? I don't know. That bit really didn't work for me. But putting that aside, I can see this work for the fucking amazing achievement of Australian theatre that it is. There's this work from the conceptual artist Jenny Holzer, which is just text saying that abuse of power comes as no surprise. And to me, that kind of sums up the whole show. This messy exploration of the way that like power is always fraught, and there's never really a way to do things perfectly, so we just have to get stuck in the mess. One final thought, there's this one line in the show where the director within the work, who's non-intellectually disabled, turns to the audience and says, you're all just here to watch freak porn. That's such a phenomenal way of indicting the audience in the conflict of the work. And I just like, oh, I'm gonna think about that work for a long time, and it was fucking amazing, but God, it made me uncomfortable, and I think in ways that weren't intended, and it all feels unresolved and messy, but it was one of the most beautiful and powerful things I've ever seen. If you get a chance, go watch Shadow on Netflix by Back to Back Theatre. It's a film adaptation of my favorite play of theirs, and that is phenomenal.